What's up? I'm just feeling super anxious today. Um, like hella anxious. Um, and like having trouble thinking too. I don't know what it is that's causing this too much, but I took L-tyrosine and drank some caffeine and had some nicotine along with my Wellbutrin. So I don't know if that contributes to it or what, but I checked out like the drug interaction chart and they'll say that it said that there's no interactions with those. I was gonna take Adderall with the Wellbutrin, but the interaction chart said that there's a major interaction. And some people, read their stories online and they said like it made them feel really terrible. But then other people said it made them feel okay. So I don't know. I'm not gonna risk it because I feel like I'm the type of person that would probably get the worst interaction out of it and just feel horrible. So I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I've been trying to study today and I was like semi successful. Um, just with catching up on programming. I really wish I didn't take programming. It's such a hard course. And yesterday, like, man, I'm like admiring but also jealous of this guy that I met with yesterday, another student. It was nice to talk to another student actually, but or other students. But yeah, just like we went to Boston Pizza to meet with our me and my brother meet with our band that's funding our education at university. Um, um, and there were some other students there, and the other guy, he's like almost at 3 degrees and like bio, psych, and I think he needs just a few more credits to get a neuroscience degree or something. But like, I wish I kind of like, I don't know, I wish I didn't take like English courses at all. I wish I like spent my electives on something more useful like a bio or a chem or uh, a math or programming like in my first years, even though I say it's like really hard now. But like I feel like if I had could go back and do it differently, I would definitely, prioritize like learning correct study habits and just sort of spending a lot of time learning programming or something, like something really useful. But I kind of had that idea now later on in my degree, and I just decided to take like two programming, well, three, I guess, but the intro, the programming one, and the programming two, and I'm on programming two, and it's just like so difficult. Like my brain, I don't know, I just feel like as you get older, it's so much harder to actually focus. Like some people can do it, I'm sure, but just sitting there and like really diving into academic work is difficult, really difficult, especially when it's a new subject. Like I feel like I learned a good amount about psychology, but I definitely it's definitely a different beast than programming. Like it's a lot easier, I think. The stats part of it is probably the most comparable to programming part, but like oh, that's the other major I should have done is actually a stats major. I should have got a stats degree and a psych degree, and that would have been really good, but unfortunately, I just kind of wasn't thinking ahead and I didn't really even know back then, even though I did make efforts back then to kind of map out what I was going to do with my degree, but I didn't, they were kind of like very poor. Like I didn't really have an end goal in mind. I was just kind of like picking whatever and taking whatever. And meeting with an advisor, like a academic advisor who really just like looked at the book, said, "Oh, you need this many credit hours. Here's your options. What do you want to take?" It wasn't like somebody who knew what the ins and outs of the degree and like if you take this, if your end goal is like to do this, then you need to take this and this and you need to have these marks and these marks. Otherwise, you won't get the registration date and likely the classes will fill up. And like this academic advisor I had, like he was good. He just did not have the knowledge of psych programs, like, and without that, I was just kind of like pretty much rudderless, like just sort of like very unfocused in my academic path, I guess you could say. So while I did, perform pretty well on some classes and not so well on other classes, my degree is just going to be very general and unfocused, and I'm worried about what I'm going to say in my grad school application and whatnot, and like I'm worried about like what job I can get without going further. Like you can't really do much with just an honors degree. You need to have a master's in psych to really do anything. So I don't know where I'm gonna end up, and it really does stress me out. So anyway, um, yeah, that's just kind of like where I'm at right now. It's just kind of like anxious today, very anxious, but I don't know. I just have to go back downstairs, and this is just like another one of these procrastination videos where as long as I'm doing anything else than studying, I feel like a little bit better, but I still have that anxiety like my time is soon to be up. So my exam is like 3 days away. It's on March 1st, so it's actually about 2 days only because it's February 26th. So today, tomorrow, the 28th, and then March 1st, so it's not too long away. And when I have to write it, I'm really worried because I don't understand programming very well at the level I should. So I'm just downstairs at the living room table trying to like force myself to basically learn where up to where I should be. So it's really difficult because I just kind of like, I don't know, it feels like my head just kind of has like feels like a container that's full or something. It just feels like I can't add anything to it. I can, but it's very difficult for me to just sit and focus and figure things out. And my knowledge base, if you think of it as a pyramid for programming, there's a lot of missing chunks near the bottom and the middle to get to build on top of. So that's also something I'm struggling with. And I purchased the textbook's companion website, My Programming Lab, and it doesn't work. And I emailed the professor, and he doesn't know what code I need. There's supposed to be a course ID code, and the Pearson website is like won't let me use the companion practice lab without it. So I'm just like frustrated there, and I've been wasting time trying to figure that out. And like I don't know. I really hate programming. I also really hate how like my roommate's good at programming, but he's kind of an asshole. Like he helps, but he doesn't know how to teach. So it's not like he's an asshole, but he just like he's a miserable teacher. Like he just sits there and like I think I've mentioned before that he like thinks he has autism or something, but it's just like nope, nope, nope. Like that's an example of like working with him. And like in between those no's, I'll be like asking like, well, do I do this or like, and it's just like it's very difficult to get help from someone that's just kind of like a rock, very autistic, lacking um, the ability to put oneself in another person's shoes and think like theory of mind basically, and think like, okay, well, if he doesn't understand this, then I should explain it to him. Instead, it's just kind of like, no, Like, it's just this very difficult type of person to work with, but I'm not saying he doesn't know how to program, I'm just saying he doesn't know how to teach. But aside from that, like, he has been helping, so I can't really talk bad about that, but it drives me nuts sometimes. And it feels so exhausting to get help from him, so I really hate that he's one of my options, like, only options for getting help with this stuff. I wish I had a better programming tutor, and also I just wish my own brain would work properly where I could just easily learn. And I'm only like 26, so it really makes me wonder, like, what the heck's going on with my mental faculties that I can't even focus and learn, and will I be able to learn in the future? But yeah, it's difficult when you just feel so ADHD that you can't just sit there and focus. But um yeah, I don't know. I also feel a lot of blame toward myself, basically, because I feel like I really did dick around, and I do dick around way too much, and kind of took things not seriously growing up. And although I was smart, bright, and had potential, I really didn't focus on studying hardly at all growing up. And I don't know. And I've always kind of had that ADHD quality where I'd pick up things and get enthusiastic at the beginning, but then never follow through, and always feel a deep sense of emptiness too about, like, well, why can't I? And think there was just something wrong with me that I can't find something I'm passionate about. When I was younger, this was just a huge source of anxiety for me, is like there's kind of this social expectation of being passionate about something, and I just kind of never felt passionate about anything, like, to the degree, like, passionate to the degree that I thought other people expected me to be. So I would fake it a lot, but it is really, like, makes you feel miserable and depressed, and unmotivated when you have people, like, in school coming around and always being like, yeah, let's just learn this, and you guys are the future, and focus on your passions, follow your dreams. And, like, you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what to pick. Like, I have all these problems at home that I don't talk about. Like, those are an issue first, right? Like, like, it just kind of is this strange compartmentalized disconnect of um, choosing a life path. And, like, sure, the advice is good and well intentioned, and, like, I would I would want people to follow their dreams too, and be successful and happy and have a flame inside and a hunger for something. But a lot of us don't know what our hunger is, or what our flame is, what our passion is. And that doesn't leave you feeling great when everyone's telling you that you should know, and whatever, and, like, you just feel defective when you don't know. So anyways, um not to complain too much, I guess, but that's really how I'm feeling right now, just so anxious. Yeah, I already start to feel like the Wellbutrin really helped with my headaches and my stomach aches, but I'm almost starting to feel a stomach ache coming back. So I hope it doesn't. But anyways, changing topics. I went on the date with Valentina, the girl who is a communist that I met off a dating app, and it was a pretty good date, but she was a little bit off, and kind of, I don't know, like, what to think too much, but I can definitely see some red flags, like, waving at me. So thinking I might not text her back or whatever. It was a good date and everything, We talked about all kind of different things, but the tone was a little bit like of talking to a bratty kid, sort of just also talking to someone who had like a lot of issues with authority and issues with things that they've heard. And I mean, she was sharing a lot about how she struggled with her different struggles in life, including like depression and whatever, and dropping out of high school and everything. But maybe it's like she's trying to be upfront and honest, and that's a good thing. But I don't know. And then she shared that she practices witchcraft, like, and then she said that she is quite into astrology, and I don't know. I don't know. Like, I like the type of person that has an open mind, but and is willing to discuss ideas, but I don't like the type of person that is sort of combative about it, you know? And I could really sense that in a way. Like, almost like if I said the wrong thing, she would just jump on me. And so, anyway, like, jump on me, like, kind of like to denounce what I say if I say the wrong thing to her. So, yeah, that's it, in a weird way, it's like a little bit like close minded. Is it when people are super into the more open minded type of things that your average person isn't into, such as communism and witchcraft and astrology, but then they can be very close minded in thinking that they sort of know something everybody else doesn't and have that kind of tone to their conversation. So, yeah, it's difficult to say the least in talking to people like that. But overall, I thought it was a nice date and I was happy to go on a date. I paid for her tea. She actually told me beforehand that she was dead broke and that um, she would reschedule if I didn't want to pay for her. And I said, well, I appreciate you letting me know, and it's fine. I'll pay for you. And so she got a an iced tea, um, an iced black tea with sugar, and it ended up costing like $5.50 at the place we went, including a $1 tip. But she only drank like half of it, so I don't know. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, I guess it's a bit nitpicky. But I said I'd buy her a drink, so whatever. But I didn't think she was just not gonna drink it. I guess she just came for me and to meet me and talk to me, and that was nice. But yeah, it was an okay date, but I don't think there will be a second date. Yeah, and I really need to control my sexual urges and not like just put like think with my dick instead of my head, you know, and compromise the things that I see are as red flags and be like, oh, those don't matter, you know. I don't think that's a really great way of living. Um, and I think it's kind of a younger man's game to do stuff like that. You know, once you get older, it's kind of your responsibility to pay attention to the things that you really know and listen to what's in your head. Like listen to your conscience. And so, anyways, the date, yeah, I don't know, but I'll see if I can find another date with another cute girl. Valentina was cute though. She was very pretty. Um, But I'm sure there's other pretty girls out there who would like to date me, and maybe they have a some interests that we can bond over and not just things that we want to fight over. So, anyways, yeah. Um, Aside from that, I am feeling a touch less anxious now, which is good, just having talked for 20 minutes. So these sort of daily vlogs or whatever I'm doing, even though I don't do them daily, they do help. And I will say that I noticed that I typically do them when I'm feeling down, negative, or anxious, or depressed, or something. And I don't really do them when I'm feeling happy or positive, which I think says a lot about me, and I, makes me think of the study on life satisfaction about people who journaled and the tone of their journals, or like the attitude of their journals, was negative versus positive. The ones who had negative journals um, and complained a lot and wrote about negative things more than positive, they tended to be lower on life satisfaction. And the people who journaled about positive things and things they look forward to and things they're grateful for, they tended to have a higher life satisfaction. So I would like to try and change the tone of my vlogs just a bit. Um, to be more positive. I always feel like, it just came to me just now, just thinking about it. I always feel sort of like held back inside, like I'm holding back on my thoughts because they're too negative. And when I get to express them, I get this really cathartic or like nice like sense of relief that I'm finally getting to express, the negativity and get it out. And then I kind of go back once I've been able to get it out a bit. Then I go back to kind of like holding things in most settings. So I don't know if that's really that healthy, the fact that I kind of do that. So talking more about like positive things more often, I think, is a good idea, and being grateful and not being ashamed. This is very difficult things for me to do and to come to terms with, but I'll definitely try and incorporate more positivity and gratitude in my journals, in my daily vlogs. But I have difficulty doing that, partly too because sort of the way I was raised and the way I was brought up is to constantly mock good things and never take them seriously, and to only really focus on negative things. So it's a real worldview that I'm dealing with here. It's a real mindset, People talk about mindsets. If you listen to anything in like positive psychology or whatever, people love to talk about mindsets. Um, and I really deplore a lot of the types of people as grifters that do exclusively talk about mindsets, because a lot of them are like business people trying to make a buck. But the fact is that mindsets do make a big difference. So thinking positively and truly appreciating things, having a mindset like that, and being able to like weather the lows and enjoy the highs while knowing that in general things will get better. That's kind of like a really mm, good mindset to have, and one that shouldn't be mocked. Cynicism and talking to cynical people, they will always bring you down to try and bring you to their way of thinking and their level. And one of their main ways of doing that is just through mockery, through dismissal, through all types of psychological tactics, whether they're aware of it or not. But it's to protect, their own ego. I talked a little bit about ego in some of my earlier videos, but it's sort of to protect, themselves and how they built up how they got to where they are and why they haven't done more. And, it's the fragility of the ego. And sort of it can turn people cynical. And so when they're not happy deep down. And so that is something to sort of be aware of. um but it does work a lot of the time, kind of these cynical type of things, like casting doubt on just being positive and thankful for mundane things. People will look at you funny, think you're weird, but no one should really feel weird for being happy, right? If they're not harming anyone and then not hurting anyone and just appreciating what's around them and having a sense of curiosity and a sense of wonder and appreciation for the world, and just enjoying the world that we live in. So, yeah, it's something I definitely want to cultivate in myself, and not just live in an analytical sense, live analytically and talk about how good it is, but actually do it and say with meaning, like, I appreciate today that I had food in the fridge and I was able to heat it up in the microwave and eat it, and it was really good. And then I was able to start working on my schoolwork and get a little bit done. And even though I didn't get a lot done like I would like to, and I'm worried about my upcoming exam, I think that I can get back down there and keep doing examples and learning and get ready for the exam as best as I can in these last 3 days and cram what I can into my head so that I'll get a decent grade, shooting for 75% on the exam. Hopefully I can get that. And anything else would be a bonus. And I think that's like a more healthy way of thinking, I think. And if I can practice that more, start to believe it and make it a way that I don't feel ashamed of living by, then I think I'll be doing better. Um, so yeah, that's about that. That's about the end of it. But yeah, I'm gonna actually do what I just said and go back down and restart soon. So